We're in phase 3 of building this drone. We baked it for 2 hours at 90 degrees Celsius in the oven. Turned out really nice. And then put about 2 or 3 coats of clear acrylic, something flexible. While working on the body, I had to do a lot of research about the wiring and the components I'm going to use. As you can see here, I've got a bunch of different papers in regards to the setup and all the different components. And also make a lot of notes as to what you may need or how it's going to be set up for your specific needs. Like this diagram is just a slightly different than the one I'm doing, as well as this one here. One very important part that I learned is the motor rotation and its location on the drone. So in this case, facing forward, number 4 is clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, and counterclockwise. The one thing I had to really work on is trying to understand the wiring amongst all of the components, the flight controller, the ESCs, and the receiver. Now I understand RC cars where you have one receiver, one motor, one ESC, and you got servos as well. But this, for each motor, you require ESC, which I really didn't comprehend at the beginning. So this here is a 4-in-1 ESC, so there's 4 ESCs in this one component, and then all the little wires that control them go to the flight controller there. So anyway, that's kind of something I had to learn. As I have interest in electronics, I really want to know what is going on in the circuit board, and at the very least understand what all the symbols mean. And one thing that I found will help me in the future is this little symbol right there. It looks like an arrow. I didn't really catch on early enough, but now that I understand, this arrow is the front of the drone. So if it would be oriented like so. Now that you look at the motor controls, it orients properly to what you should have your motor set up to. Understanding the circuitry is extremely important in making the least amount of mistakes during the build. The receiver, I did not know it at the time, but now I do, is that little gold spot there, if you might see it, is actually a little button. It's the bind button. So you make sure that you don't silicone that out of your way. And also be very mindful of the solder points. Big thanks to Nunav for helping me out in a pinch. We were able to save this receiver. Nunav prefers to use silicone wiring because it's extremely flexible. So another thing that I'm learning with drones. And this little wiring harness that came with the ESCs is not going to be in use. And I can cut this and use it for short little jumpers. The next steps will be to install the brushless motors and wire them to the ESCs. And then the ESC to the flight controller. And then flight controller to the receiver. So I got to figure out that wiring and see how it goes. After I put these components together, we'll do another video and give you an update as to what I learned and how things are going. And hopefully maybe we can plug it into the computer and see what goes on. It's been quite the learning curve, really putting my mindset outside the RC car world, in a world where you require more ESCs, and it's just the flight controller and the equipment is a little different. It's just so cool and so exciting. I can't wait till I can get this thing flying. So don't forget to check out Nunav's website. Don't forget to subscribe. And next video, we're gonna see where I'm at.